This is the Cannabis Podcast on Radio Influence. It's an inside look and the scientific facts in and around the world of medical cannabis. Now, here is your host, Ian Beckles.
Hello everybody, this is Ian Beckles and welcome back to the Cannabis Podcast. I appreciate you guys listening in. This is a podcast, also a webcast. Special thanks go to Radio Influence and We Beam TV. For those of you who like to listen, it's all good, but we like some visual stimulation as well. So that's why we went with the podcast as well. The numbers are good. So obviously we're getting the word out to people, and it's all about education about marijuana and this special plant. And that's all we're trying to get accomplished here. One love to Curaleaf, who is the major sponsor. That's my dispensary that I go to, first and foremost. They're all over the darn place in the Tampa Bay area if you live here. Doesn't matter what part of Tampa Bay you live, there's going to be a Curaleaf near you. And if you've not experienced the Curaleaf experience yet, go, check it out. If you're part of another dispensary, every single person I seem to send the Curaleaf tells me he or she. There's something about Curaleaf. It's easygoing. Their products are great. They always have great supply, and there's always deals. They're almost to the point where they're giving away marijuana, and what's better than getting marijuana? Not for free, but almost for free. Unbelievable some of the deals that you get over there at Curaleaf. Now, the cannabis industry in general, our whole world got affected by COVID and the coronavirus and all this, the pandemic and all this crazy stuff we've been going through. The whole world got affected. Now what's amazing was cannabis wasn't really affected that much. Everybody always says that alcohol never gets marred either way. Times are good, people drink. Times are bad, people drink. I think marijuana is in the same ilk, okay, because the numbers did not go down. Legal cannabis sales in the United States passed $17.5 billion in 2020. It's a big number, all right? That's 40% increase from the sales from 2019. So during a pandemic, they went up 46%. I don't know about you, that's a pretty amazing number. I know alcohol sales went up as well. So like I said, marijuana, alcohol, they don't treat you the same, but they both flourished during this crazy pandemic time. What's crazy is liquor and marijuana still get treated differently though. And I don't know why that is for me, because to me, liquor is way more damaging than marijuana is. And, during the pandemic, liquor stores or liquor in general was actually deemed essential, okay? And cannabis wasn't, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. When you're going through these tough times where everybody's going through these stressful times, you want to drink alcohol? You think that's the best thing to do for you? I'll hit a joint before that and things will turn out way better than the stressful times where everybody's drinking alcohol. You've seen how that turns out. That never turns out well. Also, cannabis industries and businesses, they weren't eligible for Paycheck Protection Programs, PPP, the loans. And liquor stores and people distributing liquor were. So this could have turned out to be tough times for the cannabis industry, but they still flourished and they're still making money. Once again, up 46%, which is absolutely crazy. And what they had to do, along with a lot of other companies had to figure out other ways to make money or make money roundabout ways. It's just the equation had to change. And what happened was, pre-orders became a bigger thing because a lot of people didn't want to be there in person, and you just had to change. All right, curbside delivery. There's deliveries to your house now. You can call Curaleaf and they will deliver it. I mean, that's the easiest thing in the world. You don't have to go there. You know what they have in stock on the website, and it gets delivered. I mean, that's the easiest thing out there. Now, everybody, I hope, know that I played in the NFL back in the day. Back in the early 90s. And I was always the guy, and I'll tell the story. I had numerous players when I played. I used to be the guy with the good pee, okay? I was the guy, and I'm not naming any names, and if they watch it, they'll know who they are. I was a guy where if all of a sudden the NFL hits you up and you have a drug test and you messed up and you did something stupid, I was a guy, and maybe the only guy that had clean pee. So I used to get the calls. Yo, bro, I need you. I need to hook up. So my pee was valuable. And the story of me and cannabis in the NFL, I've told the story many times. I did not smoke till I was 35 years old. Now I'm making up for lost time, no doubt about that. But I was scared of what cannabis can do or what it can stop. It can stop your progress. There's many people out there, many football players that were getting popped smoking marijuana or testing positive for marijuana. To me, that's ludicrous, okay? Because everybody has issues, everybody has demons, but if you're getting popped in the NFL for smoking marijuana, that makes you stupid. Because to me, marijuana is not a physically addicting thing. You can say somewhat it's mentally addicting, but so is a lot of other things. But I was a guy who didn't smoke, okay? I was a guy that waited till I was 35 years old to smoke. But I'm going to tell you right now, this is not a joke. I don't think I know another player that didn't. I really don't. And now, it's after the fact, I wish I did. Because the rules were basically in the NFL that they were going to drug test you in July for training camp. If you pass that test, then you're okay for the rest of the season. So what happens was everybody knew you were going to get tested at the end of July. They stopped smoking at the beginning of July, and they got it out of their system, and they got a chance to smoke the whole off season. So they really weren't accomplishing anything. All right, the NFL wasn't accomplishing anything, and they've loosened up, their reins a little bit, and actually quite a bit. It's to the point now where you don't really hear people getting busted for marijuana anymore. You're hearing Adderall, you're hearing cocaine, you're hearing different things. So to me, I've taken an Adderall before. I understand why a player would take one. It makes you very alert. I've never done cocaine in my life, and I never will. And the marijuana, to me, is not a performance-enhancing drill. It's something that will enhance your life. Like, it's not, when you take Adderall, you take cocaine, that's something you go on the football field. That might be able to help you there. It makes you crazy, That's not what marijuana does. Marijuana is going to help you when you leave the football field. And you have the bumps and bruises, and you have the anxiety, and you have problems sleeping, and you need an anti-inflammatory. Instead of the doctors, dishing out all those steroid packs that they used to dish out, and anti-inflammatories and Vicodin and all those different things, they should have been handing out marijuana. That's the long and short of it. And the rules under the new collective bargaining agreement, players who test positive for marijuana will no longer be suspended, which is great. Testing will be limited to the first 2 weeks of training camp instead of from April to August, which they used to do way back when. And the threshold for the amount of Delta-9 or THC, the psychoactive compound of marijuana, needed to trigger a positive test will be raised fourfold. Okay, so you can have 4 times the amount of THC or Delta-8 in your system than they used to have. So, there was guys getting popped and, losing their careers for just a little bit of marijuana in your system. You see how nonsensical that is? It really doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And you see companies like Amazon, who are one of the companies in the forefront that are basically saying, we're not drug testing our guys and girls anymore. And I think there should be some other big companies follow suit. Because when a company like Amazon, who, I don't know how many people are working for Amazon, but it's a whole lot of people, you're not less effective if you have marijuana in your system. It's 2021, do some reading. And, it's to a point where we got to keep on progressing, with this medication, and it's medication. The NFL used to be such sticklers. If you remember the name Zeke Elliott, somebody spotted him in a dispensary in Portland or somewhere, I don't know where it was, and they took a picture of him and they wanted to suspend him because he was in a dispensary. And forget about testing positive for marijuana. They wanted to suspend him because he was in the dispensary. So the NFL has come a long way since then. But they've done surveys and they've talked to players, and they said it's estimated that between 50 and 90% of NFL players smoke marijuana. So when they eased up on the rules, nobody started smoking more marijuana. I mean, that's what people were doing anyways. And I've always said if they legalize marijuana in Florida today, nobody's going to start smoking. I don't know anybody that doesn't smoke because it's illegal. So it's to the point now where it's getting ridiculous, and the people that are still speaking out against marijuana, I'm not really sure exactly what you're fighting for anymore. I really don't. Now, the NFL and marijuana are not synonymous, but a lot of former players, some guys that I played against, and some guys that I played with actually, are starting to do some big things in the marijuana world. You remember the name Marshawn Lynch? Marshawn Lynch was in Super Bowl 55 and the former running back, and he's launched Doty Blunts with the Toronto-based Second and Goal venture. He was one of the first players that I heard his name, surface. He also has a Beast Mode 2.0 strain. I've always said you haven't really made it until you get your own strain. So that's something down the way from myself. When I get the Ian Beckles or the Dignitary strain, then I know you really truly made it. Here's a name that's very familiar to us, Rob Gronkowski. In 2019, the now 4-time Super Bowl winner with the New England Patriots and one with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, obviously. When he quit, he teamed up with Abacus Health Solution with a line of CBD products called CBD Medic. And when he returned to the NFL in 2020, he came here with the Buccaneers with his boy Tom. And if you remember, he caught 2 touchdowns in the Super Bowl, and the rest is history. But the CBD is something that's getting these athletes through these tough times physically. And I'm telling you, it's just something that if you haven't been exposed to it, you need to try. And there's so many people that I talk to. I talked to a young man, who had a chronic cough. And I said, did you try CBD? He goes, well, I don't know if that's some solution. I go, well, what is it going to hurt to try? Because if you look at, and it's actually on the list of things that it can help. And it's natural. That's the thing. Whatever the hell your doctor is going to give you is probably going to be something that he's going to make a lot of money off of. And it's going to be terrible for you later on in life. Or it could be terrible for you immediately. So to me, anytime CBD or THC can be an alternative, you have to take advantage of that. If you remember the name Megatron, Calvin Johnson, he's formed a new company, Privative, with former offensive lineman Rob Sims, who also played with the Lions. Licensed cultivation facilities opening up in Weberville, Michigan. This first dispensary is supposed to open soon. And, he's a Hall of Famer, a wide receiver, prima donna type of guy, although he wasn't overly a prima donna type guy, and an offensive lineman. I mean, that's a marriage made in heaven. And both of those athletes are joining their forces and, getting their name involved with marijuana companies. Ricky Williams was a name who got suspended numerous times in the NFL because of marijuana. And now you look back and it looks so darn ignorant. But Ricky Williams got suspended a couple times in marijuana. He suffered from anxiety, clearly. When a guy's doing interviews with a helmet on, then you obviously have some kind of anxiety problems. And, Ricky Williams, if you see interviews with Ricky's about yoga. Ricky's about peacefulness. Ricky's about smoking his marijuana. And he never hurt nobody. That's the thing. That's the thing with marijuana. You don't hear violence. And you don't hear hate. And when you go to the dispensary, I asked the ladies at Cure Leave, I said, is anybody ever upset in here? She goes, never. Nobody's ever upset when they're purchasing marijuana. You go to the liquor store, people can act a fool. Okay, that's a good place for people to act a fool. But it's such a peaceful medication. When I went to the SRQ 420 Fest, everybody was having a great time. Everybody's real easy. And by the way, we're going to be putting on a 710 Fest with Cure Leave and Creative Loafing. It's going to be a pep in the hospitality, so I'll definitely let you guys know a little bit more about that. But Ricky Williams, he had an up and down NFL career, actually retired, okay, and then came back. and had a pretty good career afterwards. But after some of his suspension for marijuana use, he came together and he pivoted into the CBD line of RW wellness products. So Ricky Williams is doing his thing and trying to make his money with something that he believes in, and it's cannabis, and it's CBD, and it's wellness. Terrell Davis, a guy who I actually played with briefly in Denver, great running back, Hall of Famer. If you remember Terrell Davis, he had issues with migraines, and even in the Super Bowl had to step away and not play for a little bit because of migraines. I just saw a friend of mine who's in the media business, and he talked about he has migraines, and the one thing that helps him is THC. So once again, you have to know what helps you. And Terrell Davis is involved with the hemp-infused sports beverage company. It's called Defy. Okay, so there's a lot of these different former athletes that are doing good things and trying to make some money. Like I said, something that they believe in. That's not much different than what I'm doing here at the Dignitary Cafe, where we have coffee here, obviously, but you're also able to put CBD products in it. And you just have to figure out ways to get CBD into your system. Brett Favre is a name we've all known for a while. We see him still doing those commercials with Jerry Rice and those knee sleeves and stuff, but he's in the CBD world as well for a company called Green Eagle. So I was always a big Brett Favre fan until the end when he started acting a little bit of a fool, and I don't think he went out the right way. Marvin Washington is a former defensive end, founded his own ISO Sport line of CBD performance products, and he's also on the board of ISO Dial. So we got a lot of intelligent former athletes that are getting involved. Joe Montana, I don't think names get much bigger than that. He's involved and invested in Caliva and Herb Company. Eugene Monroe was banged up in 7 years in the NFL. He quit the Ravens in 2016. He's since joined up with Green Thumb Industries and promotes their line of Rhythm products. So once again, there's a bunch of names. Carson Palmer is a name, Level Select CBD, and there's a lot of current and former football players that are pushing really for looser restrictions of marijuana. The NFL has come a long way already in the last little while, and there's still room for improvement. There still is, because there's still NFL players going through tough times. You see somebody like Naomi Osaka, the tennis player, who talks about her mental health and her mental wellness. There's a lot of athletes going through tough times, man. There really are. And a lot of them fall back on marijuana as a way to help them. So to me, it's helping out athletes out there, and anything that's helping athletes and helping people in general is good for me. And athletes are people, okay? And people are acting a fool, throwing stuff at them and jumping on the courts and doing dumb things, but athletes are people, and they have feelings as well. A lot of people think that because they make a lot of money, you deserve this or you deserve that. Nah, man, we're just regular people with regular problems. So just remember that, obviously. So the business in general of marijuana is growing. You can't have much bigger names than names like Brett Favre and Joe Montana and Calvin Johnson and those kind of names like that. Now, to talk about the future of cannabis, here in Florida in general, will never catch up to California. We'll never catch up to the Seattles and places like that have been doing this for a long time, and they're just more advanced than us. And there's a California-based a cannabis delivery app. It's called Eaze. That's EAZE, which you see customers sign up and get their cannabis delivered, and it increased by 70% during the pandemic. And that's going to be the future, okay? Nobody wants to leave their house anymore. They really don't. And, they cultivate, this was all in California, obviously, and, a marijuana order can be placed in 8 seconds, that quick. Boom, boom, on your on a website, on your computer, 8 seconds, you order your cannabis, and that's it. And there's more than $17 billion in sales. Once again, 17.5 was generated in the United States. So think of how this app can be used, all right? And when you have names like Snoop Dogg involved with it, it's kind of hard for it to fail, okay? If I had any kind of marijuana company and I was asked for one or two spokespeople, I would pick Snoop, and we'll go Willie Nelson's pretty darn good name as well. Although somebody arrested Willie Nelson for smoking weed, shame on you. And Woody Harrelson's another pretty darn big name that's in the weed industry as well. So anybody looking for new business opportunities, figure out a way to have a delivery app in Florida and bank. And that's what that's all about. And, you know, Uber, I'm not a big Uber Eats guy. I think I've ordered Uber Eats a couple times, although I understand the concept and I get the concept. I think it's brilliant. And Uber Eats is brilliant. Uber in itself is brilliant. And it didn't take long for the CEO of Uber to suggest that his company could be further involved in the future with the ride hailing to cannabis delivery. So right around the corner, it can be, you're gonna have Uber, Uber Eats, and then Uber Weed. I don't know what they're gonna call it, but they may just deliver that weed right to your house. And once again, that makes life so much easier. Now, I like to show you guys a couple products that can help you out, you know, on my webcast and my podcast. Some of them can be purchased here in the Dignitary Cafe, and we're at 4817 South West Shore, literally on the corner of West Shore and Gandy, very conveniently located. And I like to get you guys exposed to some different products. One, I'm going to show you here from Curaleaf. Once again, this is the title sponsor of the show, and they have the best product. It's mind-blowing that I just don't go anywhere else anymore. Here's a product that they have. Select is a product that they deal with, and this is a cartridge, this is a battery, and this is how it charges. And if you're listening on the podcast, it's just a very easy thing you stick in. It kind of looks like a computer bit. It's about as easy as can be, seriously. And you go to Curaleaf, you get your vape, and then it's this easy. Now, last weekend I headed to the beach to PCI, Postcard Inn, and you know, you don't want to be that guy smoking the weed in front of everybody and smelling all over the place. Therefore, I just ran over to Curaleaf. I got me this vape pen, and you just sit around and you're hitting it and nobody's bothering you. It tastes delicious and it's as effective. So this one here that I picked up in Curaleaf last week is Cotton Candy Kush. It's a cannabis oils, and this is 79.9% THC, okay? And I'm telling you, when I went to Curaleaf the other day, they had a deal. Everything was 2 for 1. Everything was 2 for 1. So they kind of goad you into buying way more than you need, because when everything is 2 for 1, your eyes get big, obviously, and you leave there sometime with a whole satchel of stuff that I'm not gonna say you don't need, because I had a friend of mine say, "Hey, you have any extra weed?" And I said, "What does that mean?" You know, nobody has extra weed. You just have weed you haven't smoked yet, but you're about to smoke it. But nobody has extra weed, okay? So for those of you that don't have your medical marijuana card and you're mooching off everybody and you're depending on your raggedy drug dealer to show up with one nasty sack of weed, you guys need to go to drcannabis.com. That's drcannabis.com, and we're going to have some different dates where they're going to be here again. They've been here a couple times, and people are able to get their medical marijuana cards, and it just makes your life that much easier, and it makes it clean, man. It makes it clean. And if I had a nickel for every time somebody's come and thank me for kind of pushing them towards getting that card, because once again, it just makes your life easier, and it makes this legal. It makes it legal. Now, you can't just go around smoking it wherever the hell you want all the time. There's still rules, okay? If you're in your car, you shouldn't be smoking, period. Okay, I don't suggest that. But if anybody ever pulls you over, or you happen to have some on you, and you pull out your car, your medical marijuana card, you're good. You're good. Just as long as you're not acting an ass, because they can arrest you if you're acting an ass. That is a fact. So head over there to Curaleaf and get this Cotton Candy Kush. It is delicious. And this is something that you can purchase right here in the Dignitary Cafe. For those of you, this is, you know, THC and CBD, are two different things that come from the same plant, but there's different ways to get it into your body. THC has medicinal purposes, but so does CBD. But the THC has another thing, and that's to get you high, and that's what everybody actually gets attracted to. But CBD does as much good for your body as THC does. And here's something you can buy right here at the Dignitary Cafe. This is Hemp Extract, and you can come here and order a coffee. We have some Jamaican coffee, we have some medium and some dark roast as well. And you could ask, it's usually either Tracy or my boy Lamont, and you say, can you please put some CBD powder in there? And then you get your day's worth or your morning's worth of CBD in your coffee. And that's what it's all about. It's getting it in your body. I had a buddy of mine bake some cakes, a lemon cake, put the CBD powder in it. It doesn't matter how you get the CBD in your body, it's just getting it in. And this is a tasteless product, and I highly suggest it. Whether you're in your morning doing your shakes, you could put it in water, you could put it in juice, you could put it in coffee, you could bake with it. It doesn't matter. Anything you use, powder or flour, it doesn't matter. You can throw that in it, and then you get your CBD powder, and it makes your body feel better. People say, what does CBD do for you? I'm telling you what it does for me. It's an anti-inflammatory. It makes me feel better. It evens me out. Keep a level head, and life is good. So come to Dignitary Cafe and get your CBD powder as well. Well, once again, I appreciate you guys listening in. This is Dignitary Cannabis Podcast. Hopefully sometime this week you get over here to Dignitary Cafe and hang out. But I do appreciate you guys listening in every single week. The numbers are looking fantastic. Once again, I want to thank Curaleaf. If anybody wants to check on me, social media-wise, it's Ian_Beckles. I'm mostly an Instagram guy, but I'm always talking about food and having a good time, and my people over there at Curaleaf. But I do appreciate WeBeam TV, Radio Influence, and I appreciate you guys for listening in. Do yourself a favor, get out there and smoke something delicious this week. I know I will. Have a wonderful week and be safe. Peace out.
For more information on medical cannabis, make sure to follow Ian Beckles on Twitter @Ian Beckles. This has been the Cannabis Podcast on Radio Influence.